It's Purl time, it's Purl time. Gather all around, it's Purl time. Alright guys, welcome back to part 2, and I don't want to ramble too much here, but as I've said in previous videos, I have a yarn sale coming, not a yarn sale, a craft fair coming up. So if you're interested, I'll have information on that down below, and without any other preamble, let's get right into finishing this little bear. Okay, I did my 9 rows, and so now that is basically the length of the head, and now we have to decrease. You see how the bottom is curved like this? We need to do another curve to make the top of the head. So once again, just to help me out, I'm gonna number this, because for some reason it is not numbered. All right, so I believe this is going to be 6 rounds. So once again, we're going to be taking this and breaking it up again. This breaking it up is just to keep it clear in your mind and you don't get confused as to what number is where. This just makes it easier to know, all right, this is a separate part, this is a separate part, this is a separate part. And also, if you put it down for a while and you don't know like where you left off, by counting the separate parts, you can kind of figure out where you were. Like, oh, I was working on the body, I was working on the top of the head. All right, so now for this row, be working on top of the head. We're going to knit 3 stitches, knit 2 together. Ooh, why was it all twisted? So knit 3, knit 2 together. All right, last 2 stitches, we're going to knit those together. Fabulous, fabulous. All right, now we should have 24 stitches. Let's just count, double check.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
And this was the first row. Next row is going to be purling. All right, purl row, that's our second. Next row, we are going to knit 2 stitches and then knit 2 together. Now at the end of this row, we should have 18 stitches. So I'll come back to you at the end of this row and hopefully I'll have 18 stitches. All right, that's the end of that row, and let's see if we have 18 stitches.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yes, we did it right. Next row, as you can tell, we got the bump side facing us. It's purl time. It's purl time, it's purl time. Gather all around, it's purl time. Just realized that was meme time song. For all of those of you who don't know, I'm not a fan of purling. This is torture. Alright, that is row 4. Next row, we are going to knit 1, knit 2 together. And at the end of this row, we should have 12 stitches. So we're slowly making our way there. Ever so slowly. Alright, and we should have 12 stitches.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stitches.
Which means that is row 5. And now for the 6th and final row, I'm gonna have you do something crazy. You know how to knit 2 together. For the 6th and final row, we are going to do consecutive decreases, but instead of knitting 2 together, I want all of you to purl 2 together. Now it is the same concept as knitting 2 together. You literally just purl 2 stitches together as if they were 1 stitch. Now what I want everyone to do is to just purl 2 together across the whole entire row. So very easy, you just go through the front as if you're purling 1, but you grab 2 stitches instead, and you just purl them as if they were 1 stitch. This is the only time in the pattern that I'm going to agree with consecutive decreases, just for the tippity dippity top. Alright, and then guess what? We are, oh, if I could get my needle on there. We are done. Now what I want everyone to do is to get a long length of yarn. And I will come back with a pair of scissors. And we're just gonna cut it. You know how normally we cast off our stitches? For this, we actually instead are going to just thread our yarn through it, which is what you would do is if you were working in the round. Let me get my yarn needle out. I have a whole bunch of different types in here. I prefer the metal one though. But I have like 3 plastic ones that I use if I can't find my metal. They work just as well. It's just like it's a little smoother with the metal. All right, so we're going to wherever that last stitch was, we're just gonna take this and thread it back through. So literally just take them, thread this through, and pull it snug. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna start working down the back, sewing this thing together. So however you want to sew it, there is going to be a slight seam no matter how you do it. So it's literally just sewing. So back and forth. Try to match up the sides. So like if I take one from this side, try to take it from around the same place on the other side. Got the scissors caught. Might have cut my yarn too long. And once we're almost at the bottom, that's when we're going to stop and stuff it. So I will come back and I'll show you where we should stop before stuffing it. So let me do a quick transition. Okay, so I left a very small hole at the bottom. I seamed it up as you can see here. Now is the time that you want to stuff this bad boy. And we want to make sure that this little tail ends up on the inside. And just stuff that little guy's booty. So his head is stuffed. Now we just have to stuff his little belly up. And just do a little bit at a time. You don't want to try to shove everything in at once. Makes it a lot harder than if you do it little by little. This actually ends up being quicker. I think I can get this in as well. All right, I think that's very well stuffed. We'll put the stuffing down, don't need it anymore. And then we're just going to finish off sewing up the bottom. Then we're gonna tie a knot or two at the bottom. We do this by looping back through the yarn that we just did. So right here, what we do is we'd wrap this around, pull it through, and we got ourselves a knot. Now to get rid of this, so we don't want that little button thing sticking out. We're gonna push it through randomly, pull it through anywhere, pull it tight, then give it a snip pretty close. And look at that, it's disappeared. The little button at the bottom's disappeared too. We got ourselves the shape of a bear. Now the next thing we have to do is make our little ears. This is very easy. We are gonna follow exactly from the pattern because it works. So there's no reason to change what already works. So we are going to, for the ears, so why don't we make two little boxes here. These are for ears. I'll just label it so it's easier to tell. Ears. We are going to cast on 5 stitches. So your preferred cast on method. Cast on 5 of those bad boys.
2, 3, 4, and 5.
5 stitches. What we are going to do is knit 3 rows. Or, no, I'm wrong. I am wrong. We're going to knit, purl, knit. So stockinette stitch for 3 rows. So first row, knit. Make sure you don't use that short little one. We're gonna use that short one to sew it onto the head. So it also shouldn't be too short. You want a mid-size length. So knit, next row. Let's write it down so I don't forget. Knit, and then a purl. Purl time, it's purl time. Gather all around, it's purl time. I hate purling. It's just so annoying. Okay, that's row 2. Then we go on over to row 3, which is, thank goodness, just knitting. I don't know why I'm complaining. It's only 5 stitches. The worst is when I had to do that scrunchie. That was 102 stitches, 2 of which were always knit. So was it 100? I don't know. It was like 100 stitches of purling, and it was miserable. And it took me 3 days, and I did not enjoy myself. All right, on to row 4, which is purling. So as we did before, we're gonna purl 2 together. Purl 2 together, then we're gonna purl 1. Then we're going to purl 2 together through the back loop. How are we supposed to do that? That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, no, we're just gonna do a regular purl 2 together. Scratch what I just said. That makes no sense. So, we're just gonna purl 2 together. And we're gonna cast off. Oh, I forgot to write down row 4. So we are casting off this one. So you knit 2 and then you take the back stitch over. Like that. Then you're gonna Give it a little snip, snip. Pass it through that loopity doopity. We got one ear. Now don't worry, it looks a little funky now, but it's gonna look okay once we sew it on. I will show you. I promise it doesn't look that bad when it's on his head. Or her head. Whatever you want it to be. Alright, now we can't just have one ear. We have to have two. So let's quickly whip out a second one, following the exact same instructions. Alright, so now we're gonna find the best placement for our ears. Now I like the little bumps to be the inside of the ear. You might not, but I think it's cute. So I'm gonna keep it so the bumps are the inside. Now let's see, do I want it lengthwise or do I want it sticking up? I kind of want it lengthwise, so I am actually going to keep it so the long side is attached to the head. Now you might not like that, and if you don't, this is a flexible pattern. It tells you absolutely nothing about how it's supposed to be put on. So do whatever you want. It's your bear. And the instructions don't tell you how to do it, so go nuts. Go crazy. Come on, go through. There we go. Mounting this polar bear's ear on. And you kind of just go where the wind takes you, you know? Just sew it on there. It helps if you follow one row. That way you're at least going in a straight line. But even that's not necessarily necessary. Alright, come on. Through here, last one, and we're gonna loop this around so it makes a little knot at the end. Tie your knot, pull it snug, push it through. Same technique that we did before. Pull it tight and snip it close so it just disappears inside, never to be seen again. Now we still have this little loop on the top. What we're going to do is, this helps shape the ear a little bit. We're going to bring it down the side. So basically sew it through the side of the ear. Someone is being cranky pants today. And we're gonna pull it snug a bit. And you see how it curves the ear down? It just makes it look like a cute little ear. Like it brings that ear curve in there. And the same thing, we're gonna go through a random stitch towards the bottom to kind of anchor it. We're gonna loop it around, tie that knot, and same thing, just pull it tight and cut. And look at that cute little ear. We got one ear done. Now let us sew on the other side so it's similar. I'll come back with that all done. Then we sew our eyes on. You could use buttons or you could use floss. Let me see how buttons will look on this guy. Do I want to do buttons? Buttons look kind of funny. I'm not a big button person. I am gonna do some black yarn that I brought for the face, and I'm gonna make little sleepy eyes and a nose. I'm not gonna make a mouth because I think it's cuter without a mouth. My phone died in the middle of filming how to do the face, but this is the finished product. I did little eyes, little nose, and I just put a little ribbon around his neck. Well, technically string. I tied a little bow just because I think it looks cuter. Now, if you wanted to, you could make like little arms. All you'd do is you'd kind of flatten him up and you'd sew through both sides. So there's a little stuffing on each side. And it makes the indent of little arms. Honestly, I kind of like him as a little ball. And my son actually thinks it's very adorable. He keeps reaching for it. So I think this is a winner chicken dinner. So I'm gonna leave it as it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. And I would love to see your little bears. Comment and let me know how you did. If you want to share a picture, you can send it to my email down below in the description. Alright guys, bye!